Hey folks, this is Matt Rainwater, and today we're going to be reading episode 69 of Trailer Park Warlock. For this episode, we are following up with what happened last time. So, Jake formed an intention circle with the kids in Nate's Owl Scouts training group. Basically, I don't know, like, what do they call it nowadays? Because it's not Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts anymore. It's like something else. Anyway, you get my point. Anyhow, things didn't necessarily go awry. They went too well, basically. And now it's raining blueberries from the sky. So let's get started. Are those blueberries? At around 4:30 p.m., we began to receive calls of indigo or purple hail from around the Colorado Springs metropolitan area. An emergency broadcast was immediately put out informing residents to remain indoors until authorities were able to ascertain the nature of this weather event. Extensive traffic accidents are being reported along major highways as far west as California and easterly all the way into Missouri as a result of this phenomenon. Businesses are now closed until further notice from state government to reduce further mishaps. The Cult of Set, a chaos advocacy group in Oklahoma, has released a statement condoning the event as in accordance with their principles. The Mancers Union has issued their own statement citing no known involvement with any laborers concerning union representation and that further investigation will be conducted alongside state and federal authorities. It bears repeating, we remain uncertain at this time of the cause for this event. It's the damn chemtrails again, Charlotte! I like that he has a chicken named Charlotte. Proc. But we here at Channel 5 News ask that you remain indoors until further notice, and we'll inform you at the appropriate time, so please stay tuned to Channel 5 throughout the day. From downtown Colorado Springs, this is Abby Taylor saying, Ronnie, are you really eating that? Trailer Park Warlock, an Aeonic Anomaly. Don't they taste like Boomberry Crunch? Yeah, they do. I wonder what they taste like in milk. Nate, did you bring your tarot deck? I always have it in my provision bag. Did you bring yours? Yeah, do you want to play? Hell of a thing. Just staring at the organ there. I'm not a union certified practitioner, Jake, but I'm guessing that wasn't supposed to happen, correct? That's correct. Look, Gloria, I'm sorry about all the mess. This might just be a faulty device, but I don't think that's what's going on. And what do you think is going on? I'm not trying to cause alarm or anything, but this kind of response from an organ is something we in the trade like to call an Aeonic anomaly. And just between you and me, this is some real biblical kind of stuff, if you know what I mean. Moon children, Dalai Lamas, Christ or Antichrist, prophets and saints. Whatever it is, somebody in your troop is packing heat. So please send me or the union a word if you see anything unusual, okay? You've got to be kidding. Wish I was. Anyhow, nice meeting you, Gloria. Nice meeting you, too. You sprites seem awfully young to be playing poker. This ain't poker, Mr. Baker. We're playing tarot. You competitively reading futures or something? No, not like that. This is tarot. It's a card game. Like those Pokemon things? Yeah, but they're way more serious. I'm seeing that. Dark Hierophant sure looks serious. Man, whatever happened to collecting baseball cards and runes? Hey, it's still my turn, Nate. You need to watch. Sorry. Because I'm going to use the Starbound Lover's Arcana effect to play the Priestess of Valor. No, you won't, because I'm going to activate my snare card. I have the 9 swordsmen hidden in the snare position, which means I can ambush your priestess. No, you can't, Nate. Look at my card. I like this panel a lot. It was fun to draw. I remember drawing it. My preset this time is protection from ambush, so that means I can still gain 20 fate points and win the game. Yeah, but I played my Silent Emperor in reverse, and he cancels all your combat effects, so I can still ambush your priestess. Nate's right. Next turn he wins, Bernie. Ag, that's the third time in a row. Well, y'all have fun with that. Bye, Mr. Baker. Good lord, who comes up with that stuff? Well, as it turns out, it's set. And he has a Tarot Research and Development Lab. His cult headquarters in Oklahoma. To be continued. So thoughts. So yeah, this is the beginning, right? Of let's look at the tarot card for this week. It's the Three of Wands. Anyway, so yeah, that's the beginning of the plot for season 3. And my main thoughts after reading this are, okay, this is extremely like, I don't even know who's going to be interested to know about this. But the line art for these, I think for a lot of season 3, was drawn with a very it's not entirely deadline. And by deadline, I mean there's not a lot of variation in the width of the line. For the life of me, I cannot remember the name of the pen that I used in Clip Studio. It has a little bit of a taper at the end, but every other aspect of the line is pretty much the same weight. And why is this important? Line weight is important because it can, if used appropriately, add an organic quality to what you're drawing. And there is a little bit, but I think I've been wondering about this and how I would feel about it looking at it later on. There is a slight, and I'm probably the only person who's going to notice it, but there's a slight stiffness to the figure work. Or there's just a certain thing that's missing, because later on I use a pen called Variable Valerie. And this was a packet that I downloaded that's called, for those of y'all interested in who are drawing in Clip Studio and using brush packs for doing webtoons and stuff. It was called the Friendin Brush Pack. It only costs $15. It's one of the best digital purchases I've ever made. But it's hundreds of brushes. And like I said, I wish I could remember the name of the one that I used. I think this might be actually a Clip Studio. For this particular episode, this might have been a Clip Studio already installed brush. Hell if I can remember. Anyway, beyond that, I really like the way this episode opens up, especially with we get to see how everybody else is experiencing the Blueberry Storm. Especially this was a good opportunity to kind of just bring the Lich back in just for a second, say hi to him, since we hadn't seen him in a whole season. That was definitely something that I'd been thinking about a lot when making season 3. Was oh, I want to bring back everybody from season 1, since we went a whole season through season 2 of totally new characters, totally new situations. So I wanted to bring it back a little bit, rein it in, and see everybody else. And I just noticed part of Set's character design kind of changed, in the sense of, so he has these 3 gold bands on his wristbands, and those changed to 2, and it's 3 on his armbands later on. Not sure how many people are going to notice that. We'll just say that he wanted to change it. That's my excuse. These are the things you notice when you go back over older work. I don't even know how old this is at this point. At best, a year. It might not even be as old as that. Another thing I want to note, just it's interesting seeing how much my ability changes as an artist. as I go forward. Because while I don't think I don't think the artwork is bad at all, I definitely see where it is feeling a little dated compared to what I'm doing now. And I say that because I think I've gotten a little bit more confident in certain ways. I feel like I've gotten much better at drawing hands. I think I have a more solidified idea of like what Jake's overall character design looks like. Although I did play around a lot with his facial expressions in this episode. Especially love this facial expression. I need to like work in silly facial expressions like that a little bit more. But I love doing stuff like that. That's one of my favorite things drawing is like thinking up just very nuanced or odd or silly facial expressions to convey the particularities of a character, right? So that they, have character. And I sometimes will get concerned with the idea that like, oh, my drawing's becoming too generalized, to like everybody has the same expression, everybody is doing the same acting. um I want to make sure that like every character feels unique and particular to themselves, and that can be challenging, right? Because ultimately most artists, what they do, myself included, is when they're drawing somebody, they're kind of just play acting themselves as that person. And while they may do, certain little nuances here and there, a lot of times what they're doing, what I'm doing, is just putting myself in that character rather than kind of going ground up and making an entire life that is sort of separated. I mean, you can't be, but as though it were separated from my ego and my personality. It's challenging, right? It's really challenging to do. There's certainly an aspect of like, for those of you who create original characters, for those of you who write your own stories, there's a certain aspect of often you will make characters that are kind of just reflections of yourself in different ways. I've certainly done this. I would definitely argue that there are certain aspects of Jake that might reflect parts of me. Same with Darla. Um, but the challenge is to try harder and do something where you've made a character so unique and original that you're not even sure what part of you that is. Um, I'm saying that's the challenge, right? That's my challenge to y'all. That's my challenge to myself, for those of y'all who are writing. Um, to figure out and to find new ways to create characters in which you're not, like I said, you're not recognizing who the person is on the other end. They seem so completely alive in their own way. Um, and I love that. That's one of my favorite things with writing. Same with world building. Um, you can actually see me talk about that. Side note, you can see me talk about that in an upcoming episode of Midnight at the Spaghetti Factory, which is a podcast that I do with my friend Zhao. Anyway, if you want to hear me talk about world building. So anyhow, last thing I'll say is storytelling for me is A, it's fun. B, it is like, for me, it's kind of a weird form of escapism. I can just kind of go into my own head and go into this world that I'm building and hang out with those characters and see how they're growing. And I mean, ultimately, I'm the one who's doing all that stuff, which is kind of the weird part of it. It's really weird to think about, which is like I'm doing all this myself, but somehow it feels like it's happening organically of its own without even my involvement. Um, I'll have more thoughts on that. Like I said, you can. I do talk about this a lot in an upcoming episode of Midnight at the Spaghetti Factory. I'll try and see if I can get it linked. It's not posted yet, but I'll try and see if I can get it linked with this episode at the end so that y'all can find it if you are interested. If you want to talk about any of these subjects with me, feel free to leave a comment. But you can also talk with me about whatever. On Twitter, it's at Matt J. Rainwater. And Instagram, it's at Matthew Rainwater. And if you want to support me financially in any way, you can do so on patreon.com/Matt J. Rainwater. Feel free to give this a like and a subscribe, and I hope you are having a good day. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Okay, bye.